All right, so we're here at Blacklist Performance in Newport Richey, dropping off my car to Snot Rocket to get some body work done. As you guys know, I do 99% of the work on my car, myself and Jim. I include us together when I say that. So for me to bring my car somewhere is definitely a big deal, but I trust Matt. He's worked on my old car, and his work is awesome. The work they do at their shop is awesome. They have a Mainland hub dyno, the big boy 4,000 horsepower unit. Maybe we'll put it on there after we get the parts fitted on. But basically, when I bought this car, one thing I didn't love about it was the bodywork. The front end, the style of it was a little cartoony to me, but it was there, it was on, and it worked. It was fiberglass already, so it was lighter than stock. And as everyone knows, the big protest of 2023 happened as Sick Week with my car. About halfway in, they deemed it, or someone complained that it was a one-piece front end. The front end was actually two pieces, so the tech guy cleared us and they let us continue the race, but we've been catching flack for it ever since. And I haven't always liked the front end, and I've been wanting to get stock headlights back in the car, because one of the things that I love with any race car is the stock look. Like, it's going to have a cowl hood on it still. All the parts are going to be carbon, but it's going to have factory headlights, and we'll be able to see at night better now. The car is going to have more of a factory appearance to it, and honestly, I think it's actually going to be lighter than the front end that was on the car. The fiberglass that front end was made out of was super thick, so if anything, the car is just going to be faster now with a four-piece front end instead of a two-piece front end. So that's going to be pretty exciting too. So Matt's going to fit the front end, get everything nice so Zeus is on, get the headlights, we'll get it wrapped back green, and then be ready for FL2K. Okay, so we picked up the car today from Matt at Blacklist Performance, and he did an outstanding job. We are getting close to FL2K now. It is 12 days until the race. It took a little longer than expected. They had a hurricane come over there. He got sick for a couple weeks, so it really kind of pushed him to the last minute, but he got it done, and here it is. We didn't get to do the deck lid and the wing. I have a carbon wing coming, or I have it too, but we didn't have a chance to fit that. But the front end was the most important part, to make room for the new intercooler and to get rid of the two-piece nose, and now it's a six-piece nose. So I don't think anyone can complain about the car being a two-race car now when it comes to the bodywork. Other than that, it's carbon fiber. Got stock headlights. All the pieces are attached individually. They can't come off together. So it's the furthest thing from one piece I think that you can get. So I'm going to go ahead and take the panels off so you can see. But next for it is we're going to go to Jim's house to get the rest of the fab work done. So I have a new 5.5-inch Plasma Man intercooler that's going to go on. We're going to make the turbo inlets in the bumper, and then cut out for the exhaust. And then I'm going to leave the grill actually blocked off this time and see how it does, just for the more aero, because we're approaching 220 and aero's starting to become a thing, I heard. So we're going to go ahead and start working on that a little bit. This nose is a little slipperier than the last nose. It doesn't have a big lip. We gained about 2 inches lower now in the front, just with the bodywork itself. So we'll see how it is at FL2K. We made some neat panels in the side, try to keep the air out of the doors, and we'll see how it performs. Matt did a really neat job. He made each panel Zeus onto the car's frame and the skeleton frames that he made separately. So you can, if you only have to take off this fender, you can take off this fender the other way, or the bumper. It's actually a lot easier to work on now than when it had the one piece, because I could never take that off by myself. I always had to have someone come help me. And these carbon panels are all very, very light compared to the fiberglass that used to be on here. Put the Zeus rail onto the fender real nice. Once it's all green, it'll be really cool. Another part that I'm pretty excited about is now it has 13 to 14 side skirts. Before, with the fender being all part of the nose, it had 11 to 12 side skirt that ended into a little metal panel that stayed attached to the car. And those had to be black just from the material that they were on. But now we can wrap that the same color as the car, so then it'll look like a 13 to 14 body, and the color will go down and the car will just look lower. You can see the panel we built for the inner fender to keep the wind out of the door, and then now that's left on the car is the bumper, 6 more Zeuses, and then the bumper's off. And then the next thing that we did in the front here to make room for the new intercooler is the bar that went across. He moved that out. This bumper being more of a factory shape, it's actually out further than the old nose that was on the car. So we gained some space. I believe it's 2 to 3 inches further forward, so we'll actually trip the beam sooner now than we used to. So I mean, that's going to be a number or so on the ET, we'll find out. But now we can fit the bigger intercooler. That weight will move forward. A thing with the new intercooler also is that the turbocharger housing will be able to use the factory clamp that comes on the Precision. On this setup, we had to cut those clamps off because there's not a lot of room and run a plasma clamp. So when I want to change turbos, I have to modify the compressor housing. So now if we want to change turbos, we can just use any stock Precision turbo. It's going to fit right on. So we'll be able to test other turbochargers on the car a lot easier now with less modifications. So bigger turbos definitely in the future. I'll take off the bumper and we'll see what it looks like. The reason why we're changing the intercooler is because when we first built this car, we never intended to be making as much horsepower as it's making now. So when we spec'd out the current intercooler with Plasma Man, it's their 4-inch core, the same style that we used on the last car, and it worked great. Now that we're above 2,500 horsepower and headed to who knows where, we know now that this core is going to become a restriction. We're just now starting to lose a little bit of pressure through it. We have a 2 psi pressure drop from the bottom to the top, which isn't the worst thing ever, but that's free horsepower. So they have this 5.5-inch core that's going to bring us to 3,500 horsepower, and we'll just run it and see how it does. We didn't necessarily have an inlet air temperature problem. That's not why we're changing it. We're just basically getting more flow out of this core than we would on the other core. All right, so we're back together and ready for FL2K. We're a few days ahead of schedule on the front end, so we're going to start working on a few things in the back of the car and leave for the race on Wednesday or Thursday. A huge thanks to Guardian Wraps for wrapping the new panels. Josh, the powder coater, knocked out the powder coat on the new intercooler and charge pipes, and of course Jim for working on the fab stuff in the front for the intercooler. We worked on it pretty much every night last week until 10 o'clock or so. Got it all done. It's better than it's ever been. The new intercooler fits awesome. The pipes are easy to get in and out. We'll be able to change turbochargers now real easy with no modifications. The front end, it came out better than I imagined. I was a little worried at first it wasn't going to look as mean as it used to, but I think it still has a real aggressive look to it. It did come in lighter than the old front end, so can't complain about that. We're class legal now for Sick Week. We have factory headlights. It's not a one-piece at all, so I don't think that can even be brought up in any class anymore. And excited to race this weekend and see how it does.